Title: The Warmth Behind Part 1 of 2. The apartment door clicked shut behind her. No lights, but she'd left them on. The hallway didn't feel longer. It felt occupied differently. Every step forward, the air behind her grew warmer, not hot, body temperature warm, like someone had just been standing exactly where she was, seconds before she arrived there. She stopped. The warmth stopped. She took 3 steps quickly. The warmth followed, filling each space she'd vacated, trailing her like a shadow made of heat. Then she felt it, the faint pressure of displaced air, a breath's worth, always behind her, always exactly where her head had been. Something was retracing her path, perfectly, intimately. She'd felt this before, last Tuesday, and the Tuesday before that. Only on Tuesdays. Today was Thursday. She lifted her wrist. The watch face glowed. 13 minutes to midnight. The second hand stuttered. Tick, tick, pause, tick, tick. She traced her thumb over the crystal, a hairline crack she didn't remember, splitting the 12 and 1. 3 steps forward. The air thickened, not humid, but granular, like walking through invisible particulate. Her ears popped. She checked again. 17 minutes to midnight. The crack had grown. Now it split the 6. A metallic taste spread across her tongue. Not from breathing, from being here, in this specific spot. Her left hand, she couldn't feel it. She looked down, still there, fingers flexing. But the sensation arrived 2 seconds late, like watching herself on delay. The warmth touched where her hand had been. It was learning her body faster than she could inhabit it. She moved forward quickly. The static air pressed against her skin. The clock jumped. 11 minutes to midnight. The taste intensified. Her right foot, gone from sensation now, still moving, still hers. But the warmth knew where it would land before she did. At the end of the hallway, her bedroom door stood open. She'd locked it this morning. The warmth stopped following. It was already inside. She didn't move toward the bedroom. She turned around. The hallway behind her had vanished, not collapsed into darkness, erased. Where the front door should have been, where she'd entered moments ago, there was only another bedroom door. Her bedroom door. The same scuff mark near the bottom hinge where she'd dropped her keys last month. The same tarnished brass handle she'd meant to replace. 2 doors, one ahead, standing open, one behind, closed. Both impossible. She pressed her palm against the wall between them. Solid. Real. Cold plaster with that same wrong texture underneath. Something fibrous, organic. The space had compressed. She stood in maybe 4 feet of hallway. The metallic taste coated her molars now. The warmth wasn't trailing her anymore. It pressed against her from all sides, like she was standing inside something's mouth. She lifted her wrist. 13 minutes to midnight. The crack in the crystal had branched, a spider web now, radiating from the center. Both doors swung inward. Slowly, soundlessly. Her bedroom lay beyond each one, same unmade bed, same pile of laundry on the chair, but the left room had her lamp on, the right room, dark. In the lit room, something sat on the edge of her bed, back turned, human-shaped, shoulders rising and falling, breathing. In the dark room, nothing, just her furniture, her space, empty. The watch face shattered, glass bit into her thumb, all the hands spun backward. She had to choose. She chose the dark room. Not because it felt safer, because the figure in the lit room had her posture, the way her shoulders curved when she sat on bed edges, scrolling through her phone at 2 a.m., unable to sleep. She stepped through. The door closed behind her. No click. It simply became wall. Her bedroom, exactly as she'd left it this morning, bed unmade on the left side only, her side, the right side still tucked, coffee mug on the nightstand, lipstick print facing out, the closet door half open, showing the gap where her work blazer should be. Should be. She looked down. She was wearing it. Her watch face, shattered completely now, showed fragments of numbers. A 4, part of an 8, nothing coherent. The room was quiet, not silent, quiet. The specific quality of a space recently vacated. Air still settling, warmth dispersing. She'd felt this before. Every time she came home, that sense someone had just left. She'd blamed it on old building ventilation, on her imagination. She moved to the nightstand, picked up the mug, cold, lipstick print identical to hers, same shade, same pressure on the rim, where her upper lip always pressed harder. But she'd made coffee at 7 a.m., left it at the office. This mug had been here, in her apartment, while she was gone. The closet door swung fully open. Inside, her clothes, but organized, color-coordinated, perfectly spaced on hangers. She hadn't done that. She never did that. Her closet was chaos, things shoved wherever they fit. Someone had been here, living her space better than she did. The air behind her grew warm. She opened the nightstand drawer. Inside, her journal. She'd stopped writing in it 2 months ago after the promotion. Too busy, too tired. This one had entries from last week. Her handwriting, her ink pen, the blue Pilot she'd lost in August. Tuesday, October 29th. Came home early, she wasn't here yet, reorganized the closet, made it how it should be, she'll notice eventually. Tuesday, November 5th. Getting closer. Today I felt her arrive while I was still in the hallway. The air changed. We're occupying the same minutes now, just offset. She doesn't know I'm the one who's been here all along. Tuesday, November 12th. She felt me today. I know she did. The warmth, that's what she calls it. I'm not warm, she is. To me, she's the ghost. Her thumb smudged the ink on the last entry. Still wet. Thursday, November 14th. Wrong day. The pattern broke. I'm writing this because I don't know if I'll remember. If she enters the dark room, she'll find me here. Not physically, temporally. She'll be walking through the moments I inhabited while she was gone. Every empty space she's about to discover. I was there, living her life better, waiting for her to be absent. I think I'm her, the version that stays, and she's me, the one who leaves, the version that's always elsewhere. The page turned itself. New entry appeared, ink bleeding through in real time. Thursday, November 14th, 11:54 p.m. She's reading this now. I'm writing it as she reads. The gap is closing. We're merging into the same wound. The pen is on the bed behind you. She turned. Blue Pilot pen, lying on her pillow, uncapped, tip wet. Writing by itself. Pick me up. She did. The moment her fingers closed around the barrel, her hand went slack, not limp, occupied. Her knuckles tightened with someone else's certainty. The pen touched paper. That first contact, she felt it in her bones. The tip caught the grain, that whisper of resistance. A vibration traveled up the pen shaft, through her thumb, into her wrist. The pen knew where to go. Her hand moved. Her wrist rolled in a motion she didn't initiate. Smooth, practiced, like signing documents in a dream where your hand obeys logic you can't access. She felt the letters forming before they appeared, a phantom sensation, muscles contracting in preview. What are you? The pen dragged across paper. She heard it, that soft scrape of ink finding fiber. Her thumb pressed harder than she would. The vibration intensified. It wasn't coming from the pen anymore. It was coming from deeper, from the paper itself, humming against her knuckles. A string. That's what it felt like. invisible thread running from the pen tip through her fingers, down her arm, into her spine, pulling. Each letter tugged her hand forward with certainty she'd never possessed. The response wrote itself. The part of you that never left. While you were at work, at dinner, at his apartment pretending you still loved him, I was here, living the hours you abandoned. Her palm began to sweat, not from fear, from use, like the hand had been writing for hours before she picked up the pen. Muscle memory that wasn't hers, borrowed from somewhere behind her. The string tightened. She felt it wind around her index finger, constricting slightly with each word. The pen scraped. A small sound, metallic, almost musical. The paper received each mark with a faint indent she could feel through her palm. Her hand registered the geography of words before her eyes could read them. Why Tuesdays? Her wrist twisted left. The string jerked. A tremor ran through her forearm, not shaking, adjusting, finding calibration. The pen skipped once, catching, then corrected, started again. The sound changed, faster now. The whisper became a hiss, continuous, urgent. Ink flowed heavier. She felt it leaving the cartridge, traveling down the tip, spreading into paper fiber. Wet, invasive. You're most gone on Tuesdays, late meetings. You don't come home until 9. I had more time to solidify, to become. Her pinky finger curled inward, touched her palm. She hadn't done that. The hand was anchoring itself, rooting. The string wasn't just guiding anymore. It was grafting. She felt it burrow between the tendons of her wrist. The vibration reached her elbow. Her funny bone tingled. That electric wrongness sustained. The pen moved with autonomous rhythm now. Her hand was passenger. Why now? Her middle knuckle cracked. The pen moved faster. The sound became percussion, deliberate, metronomic. She felt each stroke's beginning and end as distinct events. Her handwriting, but evolving. Letters growing more confident, more permanent than anything she'd written in months. The string pulled taut. It burned now, cold fire in her veins. Because today is Thursday. You came home early. The pattern broke. We overlapped too much. The apartment can't hold both of us anymore. The pen pressed hard. The paper dented. She felt the desk surface beneath, solid, final. The vibration reached her shoulder. Her whole arm hummed. The sound of writing became dimensional. She heard the ink drying in real time, a subtle crackle. What happens if we merge? Her hand stopped. Complete stillness. The vibration cut. The string slackened. She could feel her pulse in her fingertips, the only proof the hand was still hers. But the muscles had frozen. The pen hovered above paper. Ink pooled at the tip, gathering. One drop swelled. Fell. It hit the page with a sound like a period. Then, slow, deliberate, the pen moved again. The pressure was different, reluctant. Each letter required effort. The string had become rope, thick and coarse. It scraped the inside of her wrist with each word. One of us disappears, or both of us become something neither of us were. Her fingers opened. The pen dropped. The sound of it hitting the journal, a small clatter, disproportionately loud. Feeling rushed back all at once, pins and needles, ownership restored, but wrong, like blood returning to a limb that had been severed and reattached. She flexed her fingers. They barely responded. Exhausted. Used. The ink on the page was still wet. She watched it settle deeper into paper fiber. On her palm, a thin red line, not a cut, an indentation where the string had been. The bedroom door, the one that had sealed into wall, reappeared, open. The lit room beyond, the figure still sitting on the bed, back turned, shoulders rising and falling. It stood up, turned around. Her face, but rested, healthy, the version of her that stayed home every night, that never burned out, that never left. It smiled. spoke with her voice. "I've been waiting for you to come back." She couldn't move, not frozen, observing. Her body understood something her mind hadn't caught up to yet. The other stepped forward, barefoot. She noticed that first. The other's feet made no sound on the hardwood, not floating, just lighter, less committed to the floor. "You look tired," the other said. Her voice had the same rasp from years of coffee and late nights, but underneath, something smoother, unweathered. She was tired, bone tired, the kind that sleep didn't fix anymore. "How long have you been here?" Her own voice felt borrowed now, hoarse. "Since you stopped being here." The other moved closer. 3 steps. She could smell her own shampoo, lavender. The other had showered, in her shower, used her products. "You left space. I filled it." The dark room behind her, her actual bedroom, felt less solid now. She glanced back. The furniture had faded slightly, like a photograph left in sun. "The Tuesdays," she said. "You wrote about the Tuesdays. You were most absent then, physically present other days, but gone. Thinking about work, about him, about anywhere but here." The other gestured to the room. "I maintained it. I watered your plants. You kept forgetting. They were dying." She had forgotten. The succulent on the windowsill. She'd meant to water it for weeks. "Look." The other pointed to the lit room behind her. The windowsill. The succulent, green and healthy, new growth emerging from the center. Then pointed to the dark room. The same windowsill. The succulent brown, desiccated, soil-cracked. 2 realities. One cared for, one abandoned. "Which room is real?" she asked. "Both. Neither. We split the apartment when we split you." The other sat on the edge of the bed, the lit room's bed, patted the space beside her. "Sit." She didn't want to, but her legs ached. She'd been standing for, how long, she couldn't remember. She sat. The bed in the dark room. The mattress gave differently than she remembered. Harder, less used. They sat across from each other. Same bed, different versions, 3 feet apart. "Why Thursday?" she asked. "You came home early, 6 p.m. instead of 9. I was still here, still solid." The other leaned forward. "We overlapped. The apartment couldn't hold both timelines at once. It fractured." The hallway. The hallway was the seam, where your timeline and mine pressed together. The warmth you felt, that was me, walking where you'd just been. Our movements synchronized too closely. She looked at her hands. The red line on her palm had darkened, almost like a scar. "What happens now?" The other's smile faded. "One of us has to leave, or we merge." "You said that before. What does merge mean?" "I don't know." For the first time, the other looked uncertain. "The apartment is trying to resolve the paradox. 2 versions of you, occupying the same space. It has to correct." The walls between the rooms thinned. She could see through them now, both bedrooms superimposed, furniture from each overlapping in ghost images. The healthy plant and the dead plant occupied the same windowsill, flickering. "If I leave?" she asked. "I stay. I become you, the version that never left." The other's voice softened. "The version that wasn't so tired." "And if you leave?" "You stay. Keep living the life that's killing you. Keep coming home to spaces you've abandoned." The room shuddered. A deep vibration, felt rather than heard. The walls rippled. "It's collapsing," the other said. "Choose." She looked at the other, really looked, the clear eyes, the relaxed shoulders, the way she sat without the constant tension, the invisible weight. She looked at her own reflection in the darkened window, hollow, depleted, a person shaped by absence. "What if neither of us leaves?" she asked. The other's eyes widened. "Then we merge," You said it yourself. Maybe that's the answer. We don't know what that means. No, but we know what leaving means, and we know what staying means. She stood, crossed the threshold between rooms. The air thickened, resisted. She pushed through. Stood in front of the other. Extended her hand. The other stared at it, then slowly reached up. Their hands touched. The apartment inverted, not visually, spatially. She felt the rooms turn inside out, folding through dimensions that shouldn't exist. The two bedrooms collapsed into each other, not merging, but occupying the exact same coordinates simultaneously. Her hand and the other's hand weren't touching anymore. They were the same hand. She felt it, double sensation, her fingers from two perspectives, the pressure of touch as both giver and receiver, her pulse synchronized with itself, doubling, then fusing into something stronger. The other's face overlapped hers, not visually. She couldn't see it, but she felt it. Bone structure aligning, eye sockets matching, lips pressed against lips from inside. Memories flooded, not hers, the other's. Tuesday, October 29th. Waking up in an empty apartment, quiet, peaceful. Making coffee slowly, actually tasting it. Reorganizing the closet because there was time, because care was possible. Watering plants, sitting in sunlight, reading a book she'd meant to finish, existing without urgency. Every Tuesday, every moment she'd been gone, the other had been here, living her life, living it better. She felt the weight of those moments settle into her body, not replacing her memories, adding to them. She'd been at work, yes, but also here. Both were true. The apartment solidified around her. One room, one bedroom, the furniture clear now, real, the bed made on both sides, the closet organized but not sterile, a balance between chaos and control, the succulent on the windowsill, healthy, thriving. She stood alone. But not alone. She could feel the other still, inside her, not a separate consciousness, a reclaimed part, the version of herself that knew how to rest, how to be present, how to exist in a space without always leaving it. Her watch, she looked down. The crystal had repaired itself. No cracks. The hands showed 12 on exactly. Midnight. The day resetting. She walked to the hallway. It stretched normally now. She could see the front door at the end. Real, solid, accessible. But she didn't go to it. She walked back to the bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, felt the mattress give. Familiar now, comfortable. Her body remembered both versions of this moment. The exhausted collapse she usually did, and the gentle settling the other had known. She chose the gentle settling. Lay back, pulled the blanket over herself. The apartment breathed around her, steady, whole. She closed her eyes. In the darkness behind her lids, she felt it, the warmth, but it wasn't following her anymore. It was inside her, where it had always been, where she'd left it behind every time she walked out the door. End of part 1.